little sickness with it. All right, we're here with you, Fatboy FadeAway episode 208. We're talking about sicknesses, and I'm recovering here. So if you hear me hit the cough button, that's where we're at here on a Sunday morning. Talked about my daughter Grace, very well skilled at missing a day on Friday, but she can run around on a Saturday. So she's got it done as a kindergartner. I got Brian the main man Johnson with me, Casey, Tyler McGurk. We still got a good show for you this Sunday. A lot to get into. How we doing, boys? Tyler, how you doing here?
I'm doing well. It's Disturbed would say, are you down with the sickness? It seems like you are over it. Get those antibiotics. Yeah, I'm doing well. I'm excited to talk a little playoff football. Baseball is going through, I don't know what it's going through. It's something.
69 days away, Tyler. 60.
It's insane. But I'm excited to be here to talk to you three gentlemen on this lovely Sunday morning.
What's up, B? How you doing?
I'm doing good. Just, a neighborhood dog just decided to start barking at 1 or 2 in the morning. So that I'm frustrated about that. But
did I tell you that story about my neighbor and the dog? About where?
But I don't get why why it barks so late. I don't know.
So we got Goldie Hawn's about a couple months ago or whatever that was, and we're rookie dog people, right? We're rookie dog people, and I fell asleep on the couch. Hannah fell asleep, whatever, and kids are all. I think Derek was awake and Xavier was up here in the main room playing video games, and we left the dog outside because whatever it was outside, or Derek took it outside. I have no idea, but it was like 11 o'clock. And our neighbor comes over and knocks on the door. I stayed asleep. I did not answer the door at all, but I guess the neighbor was knocking pretty hard, and it's our neighbor that we know very well. And he comes over, and Derek answers the door. My 12-year-old son, and he goes, "Shut that beeping dog up!" Like right to my son. Thank God I wasn't awake. I probably would have been pissed, but we ended up solving it with the neighbor. But that's my my dog story with the barking at night. I remember I went over to our neighbor the next day, and I was like, "Hey, listen, I don't have a problem with you chewing my ass out, but you shouldn't probably be chewing my 12-year-old out about that. Just tell him, hey, wake your lazy bum father up, and then me and you can have a conversation about it." So, Brian, you're a good man by not cussing out a 12-year-old kid about it. Nice job.
That is crazy.
I just think it's like awkward. Like, what do you do? Say, what's up with your dog?
Well, that's better than telling your 12-year-old to shut that effing dog down. That's right. You probably took the more mature approach, Brian. So that one we can congratulate there. Poor Goldie Hawn's.
What you don't do is you don't put coolant on a steak and throw it over the fence for the dog to eat. That's what my coworker said he would do if he had a noisy dog. You don't do that.
Brian, what would Kramer do?
I think you get arrested for that. It's like a felony if you try to poison a dog. So we're gonna do
TV show picks later. But Brian, you remember the episode where Elaine and they decide to kidnap the dog. That's one of my favorite ones with it. Case, how you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Yeah, doing really well, guys. I was thinking of the Chappelle one where they tell the dog, the golden retriever, shut that effing dog up.
They shoot it.
The dog just panting very quietly and then just blast the golden retriever right in the head. But that was obviously fiction. But
what I found interesting is I saw Dave Chappelle was doing Saturday Night Live last night. He was hosting it. And he was like, I guess maybe they're still allowed to do. He was like smoking a cigarette live on the show. Not a big deal to me or anything, but for some reason I was like, I don't know. I thought they didn't do that anymore. But he was just out there smoking a cigarette, which I thought was fine. I just thought it was kind of interesting. He's out there just doing the thing and just right there at the cigarette. I felt like I was on like Johnny Carson again or watching something like that. It was just kind of interesting watching that last night on Saturday Night Live. And obviously he always does a good job on it, but I just thought that part was a little bit interesting. What do you guys think? Best weekend of sports though with the divisional round, or am I missing one? Is that the best weekend in sports? I mean, four good games usually. I don't know. Or is it the championship weekend, or is it a different one? Is it when you got baseball going on? But I don't know. Is it October? But football's just starting. I don't know. What do you guys think before we get into the games?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, because you have this, and then you have the national championship game on Monday. So,
Yeah, you got that. They've really pushed all that stuff back. It feels like. I don't remember the national championship. I don't remember it ever being this late.
No,
Yeah, you're gonna have the Royal Rumble coming up soon too. So,
Oh, God.
But it's not on the same weekend. Not on the same weekend.
no, but it's all intertwined. It's exciting times.
All right, so we'll get into it. Yesterday,
I think there's 2 other weekends.
Give me a.
I think the first weekend of college basketball. I know the games aren't as great, but you do get those magical moments, especially back in the day when we were children, and it meant a little more.
When
like,
you get all
that was a great weekend. Yeah, exactly. There's like 4 games on at a time coming at you continuously throughout that weekend. Just a great time. It even extends to Thursday and Friday, which is great. Yep. And then in late October, like you have baseball playoffs. College football has just started. NFL has just started. NBA and NHL are just started. So you get like but it called NFL playoffs is pretty unrivaled. It's tough to beat.
Well, our Mr. Novato couldn't get the job done yesterday for the Lionesses. They come up a little short against the Commanders. Obviously it's not a Bay Area team, but I just kind of found it fascinating that it felt like Brian, you called the Commanders, I feel like, in that. Tyler called the Commanders in that one. Or no, Brian, you said Lions. But Tyler, you said Commanders.
No, I said Commanders in our group text.
Okay. Facebook, I thought I saw Lions. That's what I saw. On
the podcast last week, I said Commanders. I know that.
You've been calling it for a while. I know Terrell was happy about his Commanders making it all the way there. I feel like Goff. I've never trusted Goff, and I should have just continued to not trust him at times. But Daniels was pretty awesome. I mean, I don't know. He looked like he was the real deal after a performance like that.
I mean, the first 2 playoff performances of his career have been unbelievable. He looks unstoppable. You have so many dimensions you have to guard every play. Makes it tough to stop. Like Cliff Kingsbury looks like a genius after his stint in Arizona, where he's like, he's on the downtrodden. He probably won't get a head coaching career. I think he's probably in line again, just because you get this special player you drafted him 2nd overall. Like it shows you what coaching really is. You need players to execute your vision. So it's just crazy to think about that way. But what Jaden Daniels did, and who it reminded me of, this is a little humorous, and I think Jaden Daniels will continue being a great player, is Colin Kaepernick. Like, the infatuation with what he did, and in his first 2 playoff games, it was like, wow, we've never seen this before. The speed, the accuracy, like those passes he was making against the Packers. He had that post of Crabtree and the Vernon, the seams, and the speed on that option little quarterback, running back option play. It just reminds me of this is like a special player. And I think Jaden Daniels will continue it, where Kaepernick kind of went a different direction.
He did. Well, he can only throw the fastball, is what they said, right? He can throw the touch pass.
Remember when Josh said this is going to be the greatest quarterback of all time?
Yes.
It felt like Kaepernick's problem was he couldn't find that second receiver that was open. Absolutely. He was good at the first guy, but then
he did have some clutch playoff wins, though. You're right. In terms of that, like he beat the Packers on the road. He played good against the Seahawks in that one game, even though he had some moments there at the. Yeah, he had that, and then you have, of course, the refs won on Saturday afternoon. No, I'm just kidding. The Chiefs, they get the W as well. I don't know. So you got one number 1 seed in the AFC. Yeah, I saw something that was kind of caught my attention. Was everybody was happy to say, well, now the Cowboys they have the longest stretch without making the NFC. I felt like everybody had that on ready to send. The whole time, now the Cowboys have been the longest without making it to the NFC Championship. It got me thinking about the AFC version of it. I feel like the NFC when I was going through it, they've been a lot more spread out than the AFC. The AFC's been pretty. I mean, there's been obvious few teams that made.
The Patriots and Chiefs taking up half the spots.
Yeah, but I mean, I was going through the division. I was like, you've had the Raiders haven't been there in probably 30 years or 20 years. The Dolphins haven't been there in 20 plus years. The Browns haven't been there in 20 plus years. I know there's a couple other that I was thinking of yesterday that hadn't been there as well in the AFC. And the NFC is basically just the Texans. There's one more too that came to mind. I'll get it up here in a second, but I don't know. It was just, in the thought of that, it kind of made me realize like the NFC's been a little bit more. You've had teams that have been able to get close, where in the AFC it's kind of been pretty heavy dominant. It feels like, or maybe you had a one-off like maybe the Chargers with Phillip Rivers or the Jaguars with that one year.
Mark Brunell.
Well, no, after that, remember they had Jalen Ramsey and
Blake Bortles.
Oh yeah, Blake
they made it
Bortles.
there. And
They
they
won
actually
that game. That's
exactly.
crazy.
Exactly. They should have won that one. So I don't know. That just got me thinking about some of that too. But what do you guys make? What do you guys think for today too?
I mean, if we're gonna go back a little bit, Darren, to give just a little bit about the Lions and watching that game, man, if you missed that second quarter, I felt like you missed like just an absolute like. If you went to the bathroom, it was just an insane amount of points. It was just, I think it was 42 points in that second quarter.
Yeah, it was nuts.
Jaden Daniels and Detroit, I mean, those talk about just like it looked like the greatest show on turf for both teams. The way they're going back in explosive plays, and I mean, it was good football. I mean, granted, you can say
bad defense.
You can say it was bad defense, but I mean, some of the throws Jaden Daniels making, Jameson Williams doing a Madden run, going from the far side to the other far side on a double, like a pretty much a double reverse. I call it, I guess, a reverse, but I mean, it was just fun to watch. And at some point, I was like, I don't know, maybe the Lions should have left Teddy Bridgewater in. I mean, it was.
Jared Goff too concussed to play.
He got lit up.
And so
Tyler,
that was gonna get to my point was so I mean the Lions, man, I don't know what you could have done really. I mean, they only lost by 2 touchdowns. I say only, but you have 5 turnovers, man, and the other team has 0. I mean, that's a rough way to go out, man. Like, I mean, especially 15-2 on the season. Don't get me wrong. Like, Washington played lights out. They were perfect, I thought. And it was just it was fun to watch as an NFL fan because I felt like that game, I'm going to say this as honestly as I can, I felt like there was no agenda. Like, I felt like both teams, whoever won was the best team, opposed to the first game that we watched where it felt like there was a little bit of agenda going on, fellas.
Both teams played hard type of deal. No, it's good. Both teams played hard type of deal. Now, the Chiefs, it's always hard to –
It's not hard. It was bad.
It was.
It was atrocious.
But the Texans had their chances, I felt like.
They did, but no team's ever, like, not turned the ball over, outgained a team by 150 yards. They did get sacked 8 times, which I'll talk about later. But,
49-0, Tyler. 49.
But 8 sacks takes away a lot of that, like, the penalty, like, that sets you back so much. Like, that's 8 plays where you're going back at least 1 yard, I guess, at least. But it sets you back a lot. And Spagnuolo's special. That guy, the fact that nobody even thinks of him as a head coach because of how, like, mediocre he was and how much older he is now.
Was he ever
having him with, he coached the Rams.
Rams, that's what it was. Okay, the Rams.
I think having him with Andy Reid and being like, nobody's going to hire this guy because he's older and
Dick LeBeau?
Yeah, it's like Dick LeBeau. I said that on Twitter. Spags is the new LeBeau. Like, the way he gets blitzes and free runners all the time, it makes the Chiefs unbelievable.
I thought the Texans showed some. I agree. There was I think that slide was kind of a BS call.
And the flopping when he didn't get the call. Mahomes leaves a lot to be.
After a play like
but then he makes that special play.
I thought you were better. I thought Caitlin Clark was better than that. Why are you up in there with the Swift?
A Midwest.
Just like Brian would say, you made the list.
You made the list.
Jericho,
you made the list on it. I thought go ahead, Chase.
There were so many missed calls. I mean, if you think about it, the Dalton Schultz one where it's supposed to the new rules, you're not allowed to do the hip tackle, that one, and then the 55-yard field goal we can all remember. Fairbairn missing by 20 yards to the right, but the Chiefs were offsides by at least a couple steps. That
the TV guy said no. The TV guy said no. He said,
Troy Aikman, if anyone, all you got to hear is Troy Aikman about that. Oh, come on, man.
The flopping was ridiculous. But I was thinking, like, okay, if we put ourselves in the mindset of
the officials,
but the championship teams that are great, right? That the teams that like are always like good, like the Spurs, right? Dynasty.
Joe Montana had his back broken and there wasn't a penalty.
But it's so egregious, Darren.
The Patriots. I know, but like it
the
feels
Patriots
like
definitely have some.
But I'm just saying it feels like you're always going. Like I know with the Warriors, I know other fan bases felt that way. Like they always felt like they were going against more than the team. And I'm just saying is that part of it? Like that's part of it, right? Like I've heard Brian. We've all complained about the Chiefs and the calls. We all complained about the Patriots and the calls. We all complained about Tim Duncan and the calls. I always complained about the Lakers and the calls.
That one, there was a Dennehy that was involved.
Not Brian Dennehy.
We were all very right about that one.
Brian.
But I think the difference is the Chiefs don't have the one that like the tuck rule where it's gonna like stick, but it's worse. Like every play, it seems like the whole Mahomes. It goes back to Kenny Pickett fake sliding in college. Like that's where it needed to be. Like, all right, this cannot happen. We have to do something where if you're gonna play possum, you can get hit. There's no reason for
Mahomes to pass the line of scrimmage too.
Who, Possum? Or who?
No, Mahomes, Possum.
Yeah. Pickett, Possum. They both start with a P. Yeah, Mahomes was like 4 yards out, but he was like sort of playing like.
Yeah,
yeah, exactly. Like sort of trying to figure out a way to get.
Should that be a penalty? Should that maybe be a penalty?
The one was out of bounds. Should have been. I was like, Steve's like, don't call a penalty. I was like, call a penalty on the Chiefs something. Steve's like. I like call a penalty on the Chiefs for this one. This is crazy. You can't just flop like that and look for a call.
That was ridiculous.
You're saying the ones that weren't called.
The one where he played possum, they did call a penalty.
So I mean, but Darren's saying there wasn't like a tuck rule. Well,
no, I said that.
You guys know I am a Niner hater to the core, pretty much. But I'll mess around. But in that Super Bowl, there's 42 dropbacks by the Chiefs passing, not one holding call. Like that's crazy, dude. Jimmy Garoppolo getting lit up on the sideline. The Bengals' infamous "let's play third down again" because we just want to have another play, and it's just a redo, like the play never happened. And then the very next play, they call holding on Eli Apple. Like there's just so many. It's adding up where it's like maybe they don't have like that one dominant like play that you're like, I'll remember that forever. But
the third down one's pretty bad.
That one. But I don't think people would have remembered that. Like the majority of NFL fans, right. Like it's not a tuck rule type like in our consciousness of a play we're gonna remember forever. But Casey, keep going. You're bringing up great points.
So, and then you got the one with James Bradbury where they called it was 35-35 against the Eagles in the Super Bowl. Even Greg Olson's like, come on, man. Like, you just can't call that right here. And then, he's speaking to the guys, however you want to put it, like, the officials, in the booth, and they kind of just go silent where they don't say anything because they don't want to be put in that situation. But it's becoming so egregious where it's happening over and over, where it's just piling on, where it's like, even like average NFL fans, like my sister, my mom, like they're like, this is ridiculous. Like this isn't
average.
That's a shot. Shot taken.
But it gets to the point where it gets to the point that you have to beat the Chiefs, but you have to beat the refs too. So that's what makes it so hard.
And the only game I thought about where the Chiefs didn't get any calls and you have to beat them is just do what the Bucs did in the Super Bowl. You just beat the crap out of it, or there is no chance where they can get the calls. I mean, if you look at the hit that Mahomes took against Ndamukong Suh in that Super Bowl, that is way worse than what Will Anderson did. Like, Will Anderson pulled up, basically, and they gave him – and the thing I'm starting to really hate Mahomes here is the flying and looking for the calls. That's what's really starting.
It's LeBron James-esque. LeBron James-esque.
I mean, you guys know Nick Wright from FS1, right? He's Mr. Chiefs. He had the goal to say that he thought the Buffalo Bills get more calls than the Chiefs. I'm like, come on, man, what are you talking about?
That's insane.
I thought Casey, you brought up some good points there. Like was this their 7th straight AFC Championship game? Is that what it is, right? I don't know what the record is. That's got to be close to the record. I got to think. Yeah,
Because there was that one where they played the Patriots, right, with Tom, and they lost that one, right?
Yeah, the D Brown offsides. That's the last call that has gone.
And who was he going up against, though?
Yes, exactly.
Tom and the Pats. Tom and the Pats.
And what was like the Super Bowl, Darren? Tom in the Bucks.
Tom and the exactly. Exactly. You're right. It's the only one. It's like the only guy that could. You're right. Like, but that kind of goes to my grander scheme of championship or a team. You know, the Bulls used to teams. They always thought that about Michael Jordan, right? He's a great player, but you can't breathe on him. Type of like that. You know, there is this like mystique that goes over great teams, like Curry, Durant. They would get calls all the time. Same thing. That was the mystique with this thing. Like that's what other teams think, and I just wonder if in like a referee. Is that now become a subconscious thought? Like, I don't know. Like, I can't imagine Roger Goodell's actually going to them and saying, we want them in the playoffs. No. It's just, but it does seem like every close call they get. And it is frustrating. But the Texans, again, like you said, they have to be able to do both. And they didn't play well enough to actually to actually.
What do you mean they didn't play well enough? They dominated.
I mean, only scored 12 points on offense. That's not going to get enough. That's not going to be enough.
And it felt like their special teams was abysmal in that game.
Yeah, but Darren, you're giving them free first downs.
What happens if that face mask isn't called where he grabs him by the shoulder? Like that's 8 point. That's a 7-point swing for the Chiefs because they go on to a touchdown. Like that gives the Texans.
I thought also in that Commanders-Lions game there were some awful calls.
Like, so what if Patrick
but they went both ways. It wasn't just one side.
What if Patrick Mahomes got lit up like Jared Goff? You don't think they're not calling that penalty, Darren? Like Jared Goff got obliterated. That should have been brought back to probably the 30.
None of them should be brought back. They're all just football plays. If it's on purpose, it's a penalty. I don't think accidental, like kind of colliding your head, like on accident, is a penalty. It shouldn't be a penalty. It's ruining football that these are not man up. I'm not trying to like say concussions are a joke.
If you're running against a defender, then you're free game. It's not like you're dropping back with the ball.
Exactly. I agree with that wholeheartedly, Brian.
And he's taking advantage full of the rules, Darren. That's exactly what he's doing. He's found
Mahomes is a little, he's starting.
Darren agrees with us. He's just kind of getting the conversation going. It's which is fair. Like, and you're right. There is like this. It happens to championship teams. The Patriots definitely got calls. The Lakers, they did. But at the same time, in the time, the Chiefs are getting calls that you're like, why are they getting these calls? You're not going, that's okay because they're a championship level contender.
And I was thinking, like, as a Raiders fan, like, I can't even remember a moment where I'm like, man, they got some great calls for a period stretch. Like, if anything, it always felt like it was, even when they were good, they led the league in penalties.
Remember the Raiders-Bengals game. Hey, someone blew a whistle, but I guess we're just, it's whatever.
Inadvertent, that's the play goes on.
Hey, but they didn't redo the play, right? I mean, so it's like
good old whistle gate.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't matter with that. But I kind of, you guys are right. Both calls went both way in that Lions Commanders game, but like, the face mask call, right?
Yeah,
it wasn't a face mask, and the Lions did score, which it did seem at the time maybe was going to give them a little life. That was going to kind of momentum, and then. But I know the Commanders and got the call on the face mask and all that too, or on the hit on golf, whatever people say. So they felt like that offset it. I will say I'm glad that they didn't replay that face mask thing. I'm so tired of all these replays. I'm like, I don't know. I'm tired of overdoing some of these things. It's like, for me, I'm watching the game and I'm just like, oh my God, do we need another stoppage for this? Do we need I don't even care if you get it wrong. Just keep the momentum moving a little bit. Like, that's the one thing I enjoy about watching throwback games is like literally guys are giving running lariats. Like, I feel like Lex Luger's out there just like giving running lariats to people and they're not calling anything. Like, it's just like they're on like, it was like a Niners Eagles game I was rewatching from like 91 a few months back. And I'm like, and you watch the game and you're like, ooh, like you're kind of worried about some of these guys, but you're like, they get up, and like they're just getting like leveled. So there's got to be a little barrier to it. The flop, though, I mean, the NFL's got to see that, and that's just got to be. I don't know. You got to see that and stop giving some of these guys some calls. That was pathetic on Mahomes' part. That was Chris Paul-esque to the highest level.
Oh, absolutely.
Is it a State Farm thing? I don't know what the heck's going on with that. Yeah, I don't get. That was pathetic. That was the worst. I'm glad if they would have called that. But the Texans, like I said, they called it.
No, they didn't. No, the flop out of bounds, they didn't call.
They didn't call it.
But it should have been called on Mahomes.
Yes, is what I'm saying. Yeah.
What was with that Texans guy to start the game? My God.
Oh wow, what a sight!
Pushing
your coach.
He said, "I'm sorry, I'm not like that. It was a 10 seconds of energy or something like that." He said it. I'm like, well, that's my God, what kind of adrenaline rush were you on, my man? Like throwing your helmet off the field. I don't even care if you thought you got a fumble recovery. You would have got a 15-yard penalty for throwing your helmet. And then, like,
it sounded like he was celebrating, and the coach was like, "Stop celebrating," and he was like, "Why? We got the ball." And he didn't realize.
Not a good look.
No, it's terrible. He's probably not on the team next year.
From Texas,
my last point on the Lions is I think that them missing all those guys on defense kind of bit them in the butt in this game. They just couldn't make that big stop.
Those kneecaps got bitten. I felt the Lions. They almost
like coaching of the Lions at some point too, but carry on.
The Lions, I almost felt like they play so hard and hit so hard. It's like their injuries over a long period just like almost killed themselves. Almost like I don't know. I was just watching from afar. No. I don't know.
No, posting on Twitter, I was like, it seems like every time the Lions play, some player is getting concussed. I don't know if it's going to be a Lion. It's not always a Lion. It could be the other team, but it's also the Lions. I just don't think that as it worked for the Commanders this week, going for it on fourth down and doing the trick plays all the time, I just don't think it's a recipe for success. You have to be able to just what the Lions can do, and they should have focused more on it this game. It's just pound the ball. Give the ball to Jahmyr Gibbs 20 times. Give it to David Montgomery 18 times.
He looked good, Montgomery, too.
They both look good. Why did they not run the ball 35 plus times? It doesn't make sense. It worked all regular season, these trick plays. Like I was at the game with the Niners versus the Lions where they do a hook and ladder on third down. And it was like, this is ridiculous. It's like watching NFL Street on like in live. I never see this. And then they run the double reverse and it works for a touchdown. Then they overdo it. They try a reverse. Jameson Williams, not a quarterback, throws a pick. And they're like, oh, get this offensive coordinator. Maybe he shouldn't be a head coach. I was like, he's done this all year.
It was just kind of a weird timing for the play, I think, down 10.
Yeah. I think it's just they need a big play with 5 minutes left. They're like, how do we score a touchdown on one play? I think that's all they're thinking about.
No, I get you. I mean, all that stuff can be second guessed. So. I mean, Goff could have easily thrown an interception too, but with
he probably would have
5-0 in the turnovers. You're probably not winning that game. That's usually how football works. If you turn it over 5 times and the other team does it, you're usually not going to win that game most of the time. That's usually how that works. What I see, LiAngelo Ball, is he now a rapper? I must be late to this stuff. What the heck? He's out there singing in Detroit. This guy, unbelievable. That was my biggest takeaway as well from that game over there. Lions fans.
And the other big takeaway is John Cena McDonald's commercial. That kind of shocked me a little bit.
How do you think he got that body? Big Macs. That's how you get those. That's how you get that and roids and Big Macs. Roids and
Coca-Cola Classic.
That's how you get that. That's how you get that physique, Brian.
At that other sports show, they know you got to eat the Big Macs, the Coca-Cola, and you'll get that vibe. Like
I love the title of their show that last week.
Oh, they're the best.
Using that Jason Whitlock stuff, peanut butter skin and cans, big cans. That was their title. That cracked me up. What do you? We can still go back to this game too if you guys want. I'm just curious who you guys have for today.
I changed my pick. I'm gonna go Rams and Bills.
Now, what was the change?
We're gonna have like what we had that one year when the Eagles played the Cards. It's gonna be the Rams going into Washington for the NFC Championship game.
Would Washington hold that?
No, Rams would host, I think.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
No, the Washington. Remember, they're the higher seed because
the Rams won the division.
Rams won the division. They're the 4th seed. Commanders are 5.
That's right. Yeah.
So they would, because the Eagles won the East.
The Commanders had a better record.
Yeah. But I'm just saying. So you're saying the Rams would host, even though
Yes.
Washington has a better record?
Because they're division winners.
Yeah.
So they would host the
pathetic NFC West.
They would host the Rams would host. So, I mean, that's kind of why I wanted the Lions to win. But by watching the Lions yesterday, their defense was toast, man. Their defense was so done. Like they didn't have any. They were out of it. So Brian has the Bills and the Rams winning today, which would be, man, 2 upsets like that in the NFC. That seems crazy, but Stafford is. I had him as the number 1 quarterback in the NFC entering the year, so maybe that proves out as we go that way. What do you got, Casey? Who do you think pulls it out?
Feel like that was just a way of you to say that you were right, but
he finds a way to work those.
You could really argue that Jaden Daniels has been the best quarterback in the NFC this year.
Well, yeah, but no one even had Washington. Come on.
Yeah, exactly.
But
maybe Homer Terrell did, but
I'm going with Baltimore, and I hope Baltimore wins because I think it'll be a better matchup against the Chiefs. I think they're the better team. I think Josh Allen's playing lights out with the talent that he has. I mean, there's only 2 Pro Bowlers, I believe, on offense with him. So I just kind of think Derrick Henry. I think it's going to be -3 in the snow today, I believe, is the rumors. So I got the Ravens, and then the Eagles are such a weird team sometimes for me. It's Sirianni and the whole A.J. Brown. I'm going to go with the Rams as well, Brian. I think they're pulling their defense is lights out right now.
That guy that they got from Florida State, Burst. I mean, he's a beast.
I mean, Puka, and then you got Cooper. I mean, they're Higbee. I mean, they're a very talented team. Stafford, so and McVay, he's only Super Bowl coach and only Super Bowl quarterback left to win is this tandem. So I'm gonna rock with the Rams, and I'm gonna go with the Ravens.
Well, if you look at the quarterback matchup, right, you would feel like Stafford's way better than Hurts, right, or no?
Yeah, absolutely.
Or sure. I mean, but I know Savage, our guy, might not feel that way as well. I mean, Hurts has had a hard time throwing. It feels like at moments this year, but he does have that.
They're going to load the box and make Hurts basically beat him.
But the tush push is always there.
And no more reading books, A.J. Brown on the sideline. No more reading books.
Well, maybe he was reading that Willie Mays book that I have. Maybe he was reading that on the sideline.
That was that Darren.
Casey, who'd you have in the AFC?
Ravens.
That was like yesterday at Darren's basketball games. I looked over and I go, "This is this happening?" There's a kid, he got taken out. He pulls out a book and starts reading it. I go, he took a note from AJ.
Was it the Bible?
I don't know. I'm not gonna
disclose the reading material.
David versus Goliath. That was the story.
Aaron said, "Read this."
I'm gonna say the Berman line. Nobody rides the ship like the Buffalo Bills.
The one thing with the Bills, I'm gonna go with the Bills. I had them to win to make it the Super Bowl at the beginning of the year, so I'm gonna stick with them. I had the Niners too, but they didn't get the job done for me. But I had the Bills.
Bourbon pick.
I did go Christopher, and it didn't work out. I think the Ravens are. I don't know if they're the best suited team. I know it seems like because they have Henry in there too, but like Josh Allen is just a different animal. Lamar Jackson is too. So I'm not ripped on it either. It's just I don't know. Like it seems like it's Josh Allen's time. Like it really does. Like this year, the way he's playing. But maybe I'm wrong about that. Tyler, what's your gut feeling on this?
I love this AFC Championship divisional game. It's gonna be a absolute special. Like I'm excited for it. Everybody has something. It seems like everyone's taking a side on Lamar and Josh. Like this, like you're either team one or team the other. I'm just team both at this point. I was probably, if I was gonna pick team Josh, I used to rip on Lamar, but I don't even care anymore. What he doesn't have playoff success. You watch him play. He's the best. I think he's the best quarterback in the NFL right now. Like, I'll go that far. He's unstoppable. His speed, Zay Flowers missing is going to slow them down. That's going to hurt them. So I do think that. But I think the home field in Buffalo, Josh Allen, Mahomes, Lamar, those three are going to be in the AFC Championship game. You can't ask for more than that. I do think the Bills will edge this one out, but I won't be disappointed if the Ravens win this one. I think Jay Flowers missing this game is going to be a big impact.
My worry is if it goes Rams versus Commanders and the Chiefs make it. That's my.
Well, let me go NFC now. There's no way the Eagles are losing this. The Eagles defense is so good up front with Jalen Carter. The Brandon's out, but like they get to the quarterback. They have safeties that make plays. They have Cooper DeJean, rookie, making plays. They have Slay. They have the rookie from Western Michigan. I can't think of his name off the top of my head. Good player. I just think the Eagles, their defense is while the Rams have played great defense the last 4 weeks, it's going to be a good game. I just will give the edge to the Eagles. They're at home at the Link. I got the 2 home teams pulling this one out.
So like I said,
and you got Sal Paolantonio on right now on the TV. So.
Big Sal. I miss Big Sal, Brian.
It always reminds me of this guy we used to hang out with. Remember Case Sal? And he was not a sports guy at all, but we'd always call him Sal Paolantonio. But he knew where it
was for the basketball to pick up in the back.
He had no idea who we were talking about, but we would call him Sal Paolantonio. It's like this kid. I have a lot of kids like in my school, and I call them names that they have no idea. Like there's this guy Connor, and I'll call him Connor Joe, and he'll just be like, who's that? And I'll call this one guy Samuel Dallenberg. Like I'll just use names.
Dallenberg.
They're in 3rd grade. They don't even know who these people are. So I always laugh. They'll laugh at that. I always use names like that with them. But bro, I think that's the main thing. My biggest takeaway is the AFC. It's
gonna be great.
I don't know. It's just stacked right now. We're gonna get Chiefs. We're gonna get Chiefs versus Ravens or Chiefs versus Bills. So either way, it feels like it's gonna be a great championship game there on that side of it. Talking the gridiron. Hopefully back a chance to talk about it, but I think we might do it tomorrow. By the way, too. Yeah, go ahead.
Going back to what you were saying with the AFC being like, oh, look at all these teams that haven't done anything. I really think that the fact that there's always like a top-heavy thing in the AFC, people are like, oh, the NFC's so much better. Yeah, but the AFC always has these 2 teams at the top that are like, or 3 this year, that just seem to be better than everyone in the NFC. Well, maybe not everybody, but at least at the level.
They have the 3 best quarterbacks in the NFL, or 4, I would say, with Joe Burrow.
You forgot about Brock.
Who?
No, remember at my
we shut down his Sam Darnold crap last week. So
well, we didn't do it, but somebody did it for us. I appreciate that.
Yeah, the Sam Darnold story went.
Ghostbuster is over.
Like Jimmy asked me actually a good question last week. He goes, "Do you think he ends up with a starting job if he loses?" I was like, I guess it depends how he loses, and I think we know the answer now. He's not. He might. There's a good chance he doesn't get a starting job. I know it sounds insane, but I mean, after you see performances like that against good teams, for me, it's like that's a major red flag. So that's how I look at it.
I don't know. And what's crazy to me is Adam Schefter came out and said some team could still pay the guy $30 million a season.
Well, yeah, like
but that's like $10 million 4 years ago. That's it's a lot.
It's still stupid money for somebody like Sam Darnold. I'm sorry, that's just dumb money to spend on a quarterback, especially when you have the best receiver in the league. Just real quick, the other team I was thinking was the Jets. I think they made it in 2006 to the AFC Championship. So
can't wait.
So you got the Jets that haven't been there in a while. You got the Dolphins. You got the Browns, and you got the Raiders. And the Raiders, and maybe the Colts haven't been there in a while either now, but I'm sure it hasn't been as long as that. So it feels like the Colts have been a little bit of a ways too since the Peyton era.
I think they made it with luck one year and they got blown out to the Patriots.
That sounds about right. We'll just say it was the Patriots. What's
it? It was that era.
Patriots or Chiefs. That was who it was. Man, that's who it was. Made it one of the times there. So you got that with it. So the NFL, good stuff this weekend. Hopefully the games deliver it again today. I really hope that AFC game delivers, and I expect it will. I would be shocked if that's a blowout. I'd be really surprised if one of those teams did not show up and I'd be surprised if it was like. I'd be surprised if one team won by more than 2 scores. I guess that would be my
talk about a bad beat for the Chiefs game with that safety.
Yeah, unless you're on the opposite end.
Yeah, exactly.
Imagine if you were on the opposite end, and you won that. You're like, nah, they're not going to take us. If they are taking us, and then you're like the other end, you're like just throwing things at the wall. You idiot! Why are you taking a safety? You lost me. That's why I don't bet. Honestly, I did it for a month there, and it's just like it's too stressful. You're just depending on stupid little plays, and you're just like, oh my god, the line it's a mess. It's like it's not fun at all. So
Andy Reid had money on that game. Don't convince me otherwise.
Man, I hope you had the over for the Lions game.
Oh yeah. Don't pick the under on that one. What did Reid get 300 wins now? They said or something like that. He was the fourth coach to do that. Casey, was it you that brought up all the money spent or something like that? I know that we'll get to NFL here too a little bit, but it kind of brings to my point as we kind of move to just some baseball thoughts. Is I saw the Dodgers just signed Tanner Scott, who's probably the best relief pitcher on the market, to a 4-year, $72 million deal after they signed Sasaki yesterday from Japan. And people are freaking out about it. And like Larry, Tyler, I'm surprised you must not have saw my post on it, maybe, or you just didn't. It was Larry Krueger came out basically yesterday, and he said, what did he say here?
It's bad for baseball.
Yeah, he said something like Jeff Passan. Basically he's sucking up to the. He actually deleted the post, which is hilarious. But I said agree. He basically said Jeff Passan's he's like a cheerleader for the Dodgers or a cheerleader for Major League Baseball. If you think this is good for baseball, that the Dodgers are signing everybody. So I'm not saying it's good that like one team signs it, because obviously in football you have a salary cap. But I wrote I agree with Larry here, but at the same time, organizations like the Giants have had their chances to go all in or develop their minor leagues better. The Giants won 3 World Series in 6 years and made plenty of money and never spent on stars when they had the chance. So, and that I say to every team with this. So, like, it's not like the Dodgers were a terrible franchise for a while. Like, they really were not.
They had a terrible owner.
Exactly. And it took them a while to get to this spot. There's no reason the Yankees or the Red Sox or the Cubs and the Cubs owner comes out and goes, our goal is to finish. We can't spend like those teams. Our goal is to finish even in the books. I mean, and then I wrote in the comments, I go, well, then don't expect to win, buddy. I mean, that's you. I mean, what are we talking about? How can you, I'm just tired of owners telling me that they can't spend money with the Dodgers. It's bullcrap. It really is. Like, yeah, maybe you're not signing Ohtani to $700 million, but you can sure as heck sign Tanner Scott to 4 years if you want to. You can get Bregman here if you want. You could get Alonso here if you want. You could have traded for Mookie Betts if you want. Like, there are situations where I feel like there's a lot of teams that could spend money in Major League Baseball. They choose not to. And so, like, I'm not like here saying good for baseball, good for the Dodgers, but I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, I don't hate it, because now I'm just looking at it like I'm kind of tired. I'm looking at the other end. You step up and spend some money if you want to win. Step up, get the job done. You know what I mean? Or let the Dodgers just keep handing it to you in the salary, if that's what you think it is. Or you're just going to play the game of we're going to go this way. We're going to go the Moneyball era type of thing, and we're going to stay with our stride and go here.
Look what the A's have done.
Exactly, but I mean, now I feel like that era is kind of coming out of it now a little bit, like a little bit of that thought process. But I'm just tired. I'm so tired of this crap of these owners in baseball being cheap. Are you? I mean, the Pirates spend some money. Oh, we can't. What? I mean, what? I mean, what are we talking about here? Like the Reds, the Cardinals. I mean, what are we talking about? This is the stupidest thing I've ever heard, and I'm tired of it. I'm tired of owners being so cheap and letting the Dodgers just sign everybody, and then everybody going, oh, well, it's the Dodgers. It's unfair. It's like, no, we lived through this in the early 2000s with the Yankees and Red Sox. And this is what they did. They maybe didn't spend this money.
It was unfair then, though, also.
It did, but they didn't. But my point is like, at least they were spending, and you had other teams trying to go at the same time. I don't know. I don't appreciate these owners. I think they're just being cheap, and it's annoying to me.
Well, go ahead, Casey.
I was just gonna say it's like John Fisher. John Fisher all of a sudden found money. He got a new ball.
Yeah, he had a gun to his head saying you got to spend $100 million.
So, remember when $100 million was a big payroll though while we were in high school? It wasn't that long ago. I guess that was kind of a long time ago now, thinking about it. Time flies when you're having fun.
I mean, haven't the Mets spent a lot of money? They they brought in. Yeah, so.
No, you're right. He's exactly. At least he's spending on Soto. Maybe a little too much, but he did spend on Soto. But
then I heard they're trying to trade for Vlad Guerrero Jr. from the Toronto Blue Jays as well.
Yeah, but they want more for Vlad than the Padres got from Soto going to the Yankees. Like, he's not the same player as Soto.
What was the point that you were going to make, Tyler, before
I agree with Darren. You should be spending money. If you're losing money in a business, I understand not go. Like,
do you think you're actually losing money?
No, but you meant like the Cubs owner said, our goal is at least break even. Like, I don't have a problem. If you're breaking even, then you're spending enough. But I don't believe him. I think he's full of crap.
That's my point.
That's the problem. Like, especially like you look at the Giants, and I don't want to. The Giants are my favorite team. I love the Giants. I'll always root for the Giants, even if they suck. And like, I just am in my blood that I'll be a Giants fan. They have the opportunity and the means to sign all these guys if they just were willing to break even. They have their own ballpark. They don't have to pay anything except for a yearly rent on that ballpark. They don't have to pay anything else. And they're bringing in all this money from concerts, the game tickets, the food. And then they have people who show up because it's a beautiful ballpark. If you put it's going to sell out every time if you put a product on the field that isn't atrocious or mediocre.
Charge $14 for a Lagunitas.
They charge like they're a championship contender, and they put a product on the field that we're afraid to maybe go below zero, which the Dodgers have proven, which it takes balls for an owner to do this, because if they all get hurt, it comes back to haunt them at some point. And this will all at some point. It might take 10 years, 12 years, where the Dodgers are going to be in a situation that isn't great.
When they all get old, yeah.
Yes. And they're paying these guys, and they have to pay Shohei $68 million when he's not even in the MLB. Like, this is going to come back and hurt them at some point. But right now, it's all worth it because you build this fan base. You become a global brand of being the Real Madrid, the Barcelona of baseball, where it's worldwide. People are going to know who the Dodgers are because you have these Japanese players, these Latino players, these American players, and they're always in championship contention. So for the Dodgers to do that, it's going to pay off. It's not going to hurt them, but they are going to be paying guys who aren't worth it at some point. And soccer teams have figured this out a long time ago. And it just seems like baseball's going down that route, where it's just going to be 4 teams who really matter. We're going to have a bunch of teams below them who
baseball's
contend once every 20 years, every 15 years. That's just how I see it going. It sucks. It's not great for the game. But I don't blame the Dodgers for doing it. Whoever's willing to take advantage of it, and it's going to be the Dodgers, Yankees, Red Sox, and one NL team who wants to do it.
Is it going to be the Red Sox? I don't know. They seem like they've gone the opposite direction over the years.
I mean, I'm out here in Anaheim. This team doesn't spend money on anything except the third baseman, who's a complete bust.
At least the Angels spent $400 million on Trout. I mean, like, at least they
on
Pujols. But lately, I've been saying they haven't been spending money really on anything.
That's because it comes back to haunt you at some point, and the Angels did it so poorly, it's coming back a year late, like 2 years, and it's going to haunt them. Where the Dodgers have done it correctly.
Yeah,
but they didn't for a while.
No, absolutely.
I'm just saying, I just don't like these other teams acting like crying poor. That's my thing. Like this Cubs owner and like. I don't know. Just give me a break. The Wrigley Field sells out like every game. Like, come on. Like, what are we doing here? Like,
do you think it'd be better if they had put a salary cap and a salary floor? You think this is perfect?
The salary floor is more important than the salary cap, I think, for baseball.
But no owner's going to go for that.
The union's not going to. The MLB union, the player union will never agree to it.
Well, they might go for a floor.
Maybe, yeah, they might go for a floor, but they're definitely not going for a max. But I don't know. I just don't like the idea of like I said, maybe the star players you're not getting, Tyler, but like, give me a break with some of these other guys. Like they could come out and get some of these. Like Bregman's still a free.
But if you're playing a middle reliever, $72 million, that's like paying.
Well, then sign Bregman, sign Alonso. Like,
well, what do they want? $200 million? That's a lot of money.
I don't know. I'm not saying you have to actually.
Guys who don't even know Bregman, I don't know how good he is actually going to be.
I think I was saying on 7th inning. On seventh inning, I think at this point now he's underrated. The way people are talking, like if you still look at his stats, he's still a pretty good player. He might not have the RBIs he's had.
He played in Houston, the best hitting ballpark for right-handed hitters.
Still a good hitter. I'd still take him. I just think over time. I don't know. Maybe I just think it's excuses from the MLB owners. I don't appreciate it. I think there's a lot to be desired on their part of it. And they might be waiting the 10-year decade out, but I don't want to hear about the crying of, oh, we don't have.
I'm with you. You're a billionaire owner. If this is what you signed up for.
If you want to compete, you got to win, and you got to spend, and that's just how it works. That's how it works in business, right? Right? These guys probably made money by spending. I got to think. So I just don't want to. I'm just kind of tired of hearing.
Some of them made money just being daddy's little boy.
That is true too. Mr. Fisher was one of them. Yeah, Mr. Fisher is one of them with the gap. So we got that with it.
Damn proud.
Yeah, I'm damn proud of that. We got that with it. So, anyways, that was on my mind with that. It was breaking news with Tanner Scott, Mr. Logan Stone, who's been with me the last couple of weeks on seventh inning stretch.
Where's Mr. Edwards? He coming back?
Yeah, he had his dad got his dad went to ICU about a month ago, so he's been kind of dealing with that. So yeah, so he'll hopefully
prayers out for Jocelyn.
Yeah, so hopefully he'll be back soon here with it. But Logan's great to have on too. He brings good stuff. We had a great show last couple weeks. A couple weeks ago, we had like 150 views. It's surprising. We went up against football and the national or the playoff game, and we ended up with 150 views. So baseball's back, baby. No, we were talking that with it. Just a couple of notes for me real quick here as we keep it moving here. There's nothing really I have big time NBA wise. So Brian, do you have your fact of the week or nothing this week?
Yeah, I got it. Morant missed his 18th game, so I guess he can't get any NBA awards this year. So
really, is that already declared? That's pretty good. That's a good.
Yeah,
fact.
if you don't make 65 games, you don't make the awards. Is that a good rule still, or are we looking at it like,
That's a great rule.
You have to enforce it.
Because Luka's out of all the awards now. Ja's out of all the awards now.
Andrew Wiggins for no.
That's what happens.
That's why I call Morant Mr. Drama.
Mr. Drama. He had a nice dunk on Mr. Wemba. That didn't count the other day. Did you see that fake dunk he had on? Did you see the dunk it was a dunk that didn't count? Did you see it, Casey?
Yeah.
Oh, good God, that dunk was crazy. Tyler, you didn't see that dunk? I mean, we have Memphis people all over the internet. I can't believe you didn't see that one.
That was
I saw some Memphis things. I just go, I can't watch it. It triggers me.
That one I watch. I highly recommend watching it.
That one was pretty, but it didn't even count, which was kind of the funny. It reminded me of that Keon Dooling one, but I had in college when he was on Missouri. And he he just baptizes somebody, and they call the ref had the audacity to call an offensive call. I was like, "Are you out of here?" Like it was one of the worst calls I've ever seen. Let me see.
Where did he go to college? Cincinnati,
Missouri.
Yeah,
it was a game versus Kansas.
That's a throwback on the Clippers.
Yes. Here's the play
for the Grizzlies. A lot of late game situations. Ja in the late game situation. That won't count, but
served up a facial.
A lot of late game situations.
Say one more time here.
Ja in the late game situation.
What happened to continuation? That was a continuation.
No work.
My other fact of the week was going to be Warriors related with Draymond getting hurt and having to get an MRI. But I didn't go that direction. I went with the Morant one. So.
Those damn calves. I know about those calves. They can linger. I had that calf issue. Yeah, I had the calf issue for about a year now. I had to stop playing basketball every time I played basketball. It just would always flare up. Or I'd have to play.
Is it healed? Can you play Saturday morning open gyms yet?
I probably could now. I haven't played in like 3 months. I haven't even just to lay off of it. It was killing me so much. Drink your water, people. But that was I don't know what to go. But yeah, you're right. Draymond's out now. With that, my only fact was Curry. Basically, they're just kind of admitting they're kind of stuck. So that's where I'm at with the Warriors. We can get into them. The All-Star game's going to be here shortly, so we'll have some stuff around that time of the year.
They're always stuck because they choose to be stuck. Trade them all. Stop being little babies.
My biggest kind of thing is when the NBA or when the NFL season ends. Will the NBA? I'm just telling you, from my standpoint, watching, I just haven't been as interested this year. And it's not even the Warriors been bad forever, and I've always been kind of interested in some of the Thursday night games and some of the other stuff too. But I am kind of curious if I don't know if it picks up a little bit from the outside here a little bit too, but I don't know. That's my kind of biggest takeaway with the NBA is like as we move towards the NFL ending, will the NBA pick back up or does it kind of feel a little washed a little bit? I guess we'll see here as it kind of plays out here in a little bit. So we have that. We have the championship game on Monday. Notre Dame versus Ohio State, 7 versus 8 seed. I love how Ohio State's the 8 seed and the 8 seed, they're like favored by like 10 points or something. Like, it's kind of funny how
I guess those first round buys didn't make a difference in the playoffs.
Well, it just kind of leads to like, I mean, it's the first year, so maybe the rankings are like it's just funny they put Ohio State 8, and now they're going to be like a heavy favorite over the number 7 seed. It's just why don't you put them 7? I don't know, right? Am I wrong about this? I don't know. Like something doesn't add up, right? Something doesn't add up. Who do you guys like? Is it Ohio State?
I'm gonna go Ohio State. Their defense is just on another level right now.
Case, what do you got?
I want Notre Dame to win. I think Ohio State's going to win, though. Notre Dame's been pretty banged up with injuries. They've, played obviously a lot of games this year. Although, you know what? I'm going to stick with Notre Dame because I can't watch the game and root for Ohio State. So I'm going to go Notre Dame.
Rudy.
My mom's disappointed, Casey. My mom's she's from Ohio, so she's gonna be
from Ohio State.
Does she watch the Ohio Sports Talk Show with Doug? With Doug out there, we have already got Doug out there.
Are you gonna?
I haven't showed her that one.
Are you gonna be watching the game with Urban Meyer, Brian?
Urban Meyer. Urban Meyer with it. Yeah. So you got Urban. I know what Urban's gonna be rooting for. Both teams. Urban wants it. So we got that with college sports. Tyler, who do you got?
I got Ohio State. I think Ohio State wins by 13.
Is it a good game or does Ohio State kill him? Does Doug get his wish? They all get their wish.
The quarterback play leaves a lot to be desired. It's two terrible quarterbacks that really – it feels like a 1993 college football championship.
Chris Winky Dinky Doo.
It feels like who was the African-American quarterback from Nebraska that was – winning national championship. I don't know.
Frazier, right?
Yeah. That's the guy.
Who's the white guy? He was even worse.
Eric Crouch. He wasn't winning national championships.
Brian was a grown man watching that.
He had hair on his chest.
Well, Ken Dorsey.
Like I said, I've liked it.
It's like a Dorsey versus Craig Krenzel.
Yeah.
Or like Dorsey versus Craig Krenzel. It's like
no, who was it? It was Dorsey versus Crouch, right? Brian,
no, it's Craig Krenzel.
I think it was Crouch, right?
It was Crouch.
Ohio State was Craig Krenzel. God damn it!
Yeah, but I'm talking about Nebraska versus Miami when they made it there. I think it was Miami.
I don't remember a Miami-Nebraska national.
Yeah, Nebraska somehow got in. It was like they lost like 41-7 or something. It was like a blowout city. I think that was the start, right?
Miami was so loaded that year. They had Andre Johnson. Their running back. I mean, their whole team was just full of like NFL players.
Moss on that team too.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, they had Shockey, I know too. I know they had Jeremy, and then they had the class act Kellen Winslow Jr. on that one as well. So they had him. They had him as well. And then they have Vilma and all those guys at their linebacker spot.
They were so limited, man.
They had that one guy that was from the Bay Area. He went to Denver. I forget his name. But yeah, I remember Nebraska made it that one year. It was like pathetic. It
was before the BCS even then.
That was the BCS championship game. That's all I know.
It was.
That's all.
In the Rose Bowl?
No, I think it was
the Rose Bowl.
Yeah, it was the Rose Bowl.
Yeah, the Rose Bowl.
Brian, you have a good knowledge with that stuff. Well done. But I was watching. I wrote on our notes before the show. College sports is like kind of confusing to me, and I know we've talked about it before. It's just so I'm watching college basketball this weekend a little bit as I'm like kind of sick and just kind of watching some of the games, and I hear the UCLA coach again go off about like we've seen the statue.
Oh, that guy's insane.
We've seen the Statue of Liberty twice now in 3 weeks and whatever, and he's from there, and I go, and I'm just thinking, I'm like, cry me a river, but then I'm also thinking at the same time, I'm like, this is what happens when you totally go out of like your area, like totally out of it. But then I'm watching the Big East documentary again last night, and I kind of hadn't seen it in a few years. And they're the one I always recommend, that one on 30 for 30, is at the end though, as they're talking about it. I mean, I forgot, like South Florida was in the Big East for a little bit, and then they put Miami in the Big East, right, for a little bit. And you have West Virginia. It's like that didn't make sense either. So it's always changing the landscape of these conferences, but that at least was on the East Coast still.
Yeah,
I mean, you go
makes
east
way
to
more
west.
sense than California being.
But like I remember watching that documentary, like John Thompson's like, nobody wanted to go to West Virginia. Like, you know, like it's funny to think like these regions are stuck to it. And like the Pac-12 was set up, or Pac-10 especially, was set up beautifully to like, you go to a team, you play Arizona, you play Arizona State. You go to Washington, you play Washington State. Like you kind of had a perfect like fit there with it. But as we know, the one thing I've realized more as I've seen these things is, I guess I knew it, but I didn't really understand it, is how much college football drives all this. It really does.
Oh, everything.
It changes. It's everything for these things.
What do
like,
you think it was, volleyball?
No, I guess I just didn't realize on. I guess I just didn't realize on the shorts. I guess I just didn't realize at what level. Like I never really thought of Syracuse as a good football program. So I'm like, who cares if your football team doesn't play against good teams? Or I don't know. I guess I didn't think about it like that.
Don't take shots at Donovan McNabb.
Well, whatever. One good year, give me a break. But you get my point.
Hey, they beat Miami and made it so they couldn't make the playoff.
I don't know. I'm just disappointed. Then I'm watching college basketball a little bit yesterday, and I'm like, I was talking about the reviews. It's just good. It makes me, the one thing that makes me not look forward to March Madness is
it's a bad product.
The last 45 seconds of games, Casey. It's like tip ball out of bounds. Oh, let's review this. The guy, like Ole Miss, I was watching Ole Miss versus Mississippi State. Actually, I know the Lions game was on. I think the last minute of the game took like literally 10 minutes in real time. Like it was insane. Ole Miss had no timeouts. They got like 4 in the last minute because of reviews. I was like, oh my God. It was just not basketball at some point. It's just like, just take the ball out. I don't know. Like I get you want to get everything right, but it's not pleasant to watch. Let's just put it that way. And
that was part of the reason I enjoyed your son's game. I said the first game starts.
No reviews.
The first game starts at 11. The next game was about 12:15, and I'm looking at the clock. I'm like, please no overtime. The Texans game starts at 1:30. I was like, this should be lined up perfectly. And it's like, all is well. I was just like, all right, here we go. No reviews. Just keep the running clock going. I was like, man, this game's flew by. It's like all of a sudden it was time for lunch.
Darren, you still not coaching those? Or are you coaching those now?
I was sick.
Well, I thought you were taking a break from like the what's it called? The less competitive sort of
chapel ball.
Yeah.
No, I'm still doing that. Those kids are in that one. I took a little breather on some of the other stuff, like some of the other leagues throughout the school year, but
Coach Hans did a good job.
Coach Hans did a good job with it. But
Coach Hans really coached a team.
Yeah, she coached both of them for me. Her and Shannon did it for me yesterday. As I was out sick.
Shannon Sharp, Uncle Shay Shay.
We did not have the Shay Shay there.
Our mother, Darren, at halftime in the first game, she goes, "I gotta tell Hannah, they're just leaking out. I gotta go over." I go, "Mom, you're not coaching. I just think someone's got."
That's so much like my dad. Everything I do, he's like, "There's a better way to do this."
I try to remind everybody they're 10, 11, and 12. It doesn't matter what you say.
I think it's like the first play out of like halftime and they leak out. My mom goes,
"Get back on defense."
Derek's team
on the sidelines, kicking off her heels.
You do it enough, you're like, you just immediately like I have my team and I'm like, yeah, we're good, but we're okay. But I go, yeah, we have no speed. So like, it's going to be an issue at some point. But I my last thought with the college thing was in that documentary, Michael Wilbon says, and again, this documentary was made in 2011 or 2012, I think. So again, almost 10 years ago. And, but he says in there, I find it, he goes, there's no more rivalries. And that was 10 years ago when he said that. And a lot has changed in college football, but I do feel like maybe North Carolina, Duke, but even as I say there, they go, what's the word I'm thinking when everybody tries to get their money? It starts with a C, but I just can't think of it right now off the top of my head. My brain's a little foggy right now. No. Capital. Everybody wants their money. It's
capitalism.
And so, it goes from the coaches to the presidents to the ADs to even the players leaving early and all that stuff, right? Everybody wants their money. So they go to that spot. There are no rivalries in college basketball. There are no true rivalries in college football. College sports are, and in my opinion, unless you went to an alumni, it just doesn't feel that great to me. And I know I'm probably in the maybe you guys don't feel that same way, but I don't quite enjoy it the way I did when I was a kid.
I agree wholeheartly as far as enjoying it as a kid. Like, it's way different. I just think it's different now. You just kind of have to. You gotta
adapt.
Swallow like a tea full of sugar or salt, sort of to like. I don't know how to word it. It's just, there's certain aspects where there are no, like you mentioned. I think Arizona,
Kansas State. I'm watching yesterday, going, what a rivalry.
I think Arizona going to the Big 12 was great for college basketball. But I'm an Arizona fan. But I also think, like, from an outside perspective, you could see, oh, this is kind of cool. Arizona versus Kansas every year. That's better than anything they had in the Pac-12.
I disagree.
Arizona, Kansas isn't better than anything in the Pac-12.
No, the reason I disagree with you on that is because, Arizona, you're right. Maybe for the last few years, the other teams in the Pac-12 didn't step up. But, like, there was eras where the UCLA and Stanford,
Washington,
and they played 2 times a year, one on each court, were great. And then you would schedule, like, early games where they would be like Arizona versus Kansas, or you had Stanford versus Duke at Oracle Arena. Like, you had to put those on the schedule, and those games felt, I don't know, like, I agree with you. It got a little stale because maybe the coaches got worse in that conference. But I still just
haven't won a national championship since 1997.
That's fair.
Terrible conference.
That's fair, but UCLA made it a ton to the Final Four over those years, and they made it a ton.
They made it 3 times, I think.
That's a lot.
And it was within 4 years. Like, it wasn't a ton. It was one good run.
Washington made it to the Elite Eight a couple times. Oregon made it to the Elite Eight a couple times. Stanford made it to the Elite Eight.
Like, you have a conference. That's your accomplishment, making it to the Elite Eight. Like, you have a whole conference.
Yeah, but I'm saying not every conference is going to be able to make it to to that point. So
if you're a top 5 conference, you should have one team every couple of years making it to the Elite.
But Arizona wasn't making it that much, and they were in the weakest conference. You're saying?
No, they weren't. I agree. That's why they should have left.
By going to the Big 12 does that make them better? They're not. Now they're going to have a harder time making it there.
Exactly. Good. Challenge them. Make them do more.
Well, enjoy your Texas Tech game yesterday. That was pretty boring to watch.
5-1. We're okay.
Arizona versus Texas Tech. What a rivalry. Nobody
said that was a big rivalry. This is a down Arizona year, too. This team stinks. And Tommy Lloyd's got to be fired. I don't care what his record says. He's terrible.
Tommy. We want Tommy.
He plays Caleb Love over, like, top 10 recruits. I don't get it. You're going to get transferred or they're leaving.
Brian, my favorite part in college sports used to be when they take the hat and they pick what school they're going to or something. Yeah. You said you had a big announcement. What's your hat this week? What do you got?
I had to do it because my biggest critics sometimes are Casey and Tyler. Casey calls me Beans and Big Country, and Tyler hums the Doug song. But Brian is officially off the market. I have a girlfriend, so I had to make the big announcement on here. So take your beans and your Big Country and stuff it up your butt.
We are doing it. Let's see if I can you guys hear what I do there? Can you hear that?
Now I can. That was the first time I heard it. For the first time, Brian, I've heard you had a girlfriend.
Let's hear what's other sound one I can make a little more romantic. Is this?
Yeah, that's a good one.
You got a little Brian?
You should have put that in the background when he started.
Brian, what's her name?
Eden Josie.
Eden Josie Johnson. I like the sound of that.
EJ. She's a cute Asian one. So.
There you go. Oh gosh, if you listen to 7th Inning, there is a little part with me and Logan talking about that with Susie, this lady on there that's Asian. Then we had a funny little conversation with you ever see that Bobby Lee show with God? What's that other comedian?
Bad Friends.
Yeah, but he did
Tiger Belly.
Bobby Lee does a thing with it. Was it Theo? What's his guy? The comedian.
King of the Stairs. Theo Vaughn.
Yeah, and he asks him. He goes, "All right, pretend like you're my dad." He's like, son. He's like, Bobby. He's like, it was so good. It was like great. Brian, in all serious, congrats.
Yeah, the party
spend
days
too much money.
The party days are gone, and I just want to be more serious with a woman. So.
Well, there you go, John.
You gotta ask this. This might be a little personal, but
don't get too personal.
I won't be. Was it the night that you went out?
Was it January 1st?
You're going out to town.
Oh yeah,
you had your nice shirt on. You said
New Year's Eve, right? That was New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
I actually didn't do it because I thought I would have been going backwards. So I
my man.
Keep
the arrow forward. Is that what we say? Right?
Yeah, exactly. Keep it going forward.
Brian, can we use her as a thumbnail? Can we use her?
No, we don't want to do it.
No, she's no Joy Taylor.
No joy.
No peanut butter skin there. Brian, congrats on that one with it. All right, TV picture.
And I even have my Valentine's Day gift for her already.
That
sitting right here.
No, Brian, does she watch the podcast?
There, boy.
Not a McDonald's, a Burger King crowd.
Is that a John Cena? John Cena?
I thought it was a Burger King crowd hat.
Can't see me. No, that's awesome, Brian.
I didn't see the present.
It's a heart chocolate.
Like this.
There we go.
No, that's not a heart of chocolate.
Oh, I look like it was. Sorry, Brian.
Brian's got a heart of gold.
It's got like a necklace inside and a heart out of a heart shape. So,
Brian, just remember, don't spend life savings until it's real. Just remember that's always advice. We got to give guy code here.
You think she'll let you eat the chocolates off her while she's buried it?
Don't go bankrupt over a woman you've just met. So just remember that. But I'm proud of you. That's good. I love you on that one. Wow. Yeah, you've kind of showed me up a little bit. My anniversary is Wednesday, and I have got nothing. So there you go. Maybe I have to steal you. I got that. So,
congrats, Hans and Darren. It was a fun wedding.
The only thing I got,
I'll never forget.
The only thing I got for you is
I think the best part with the wedding was The Rock with Matt pissing Andrew Hiles off.
Do you some? No, not that rock. There was a different rock. Throwing the rock. Yes. Throwing the rock. Yeah. I remember that. I was like on the other side of the parking lot. You're a big man. You're a big man. It kind of reminded me of Tim.
What?
You're a real man, Dion. You're a real man.
Good old McCarthy.
And I bought some pizza and I didn't even get a slice. It was gone in a second.
That's why you had to get 6. We had too many.
I partaked in that pizza, that's for sure.
It was delicious, Brian.
I got a bloody nose. I just remember that. Some girl picked my nose.
No, yeah, I'm sure that's what it was. No, I just can't. No, we got that. So I got that. A TV picks we're going to do instead of movies. I don't watch a ton of TV shows. Over the last 5 years, I don't watch as much. It's just hard for me to stay with it. So I got a couple. If you guys want to add one, you can as well. Hanging with Mr. Cooper or Fresh Prince, I had as one.
I'd say Fresh Prince.
Fresh Prince, all right.
I think if I'm gonna show someone a TV show, it's Fresh Prince because it's just legend. It's Will Smith. It's Fresh Prince.
He plays for the Warriors, though. Mr. Cooper.
Mr. Cooper's great.
I gotta go hanging with Mr. Cooper because it was part of the best TV lineup ever. It was like that, and then it was Step by Step, Boy Meets World, Family Matters. I mean, nothing was.
Thank goodness TGIF, but hanging with Mr. Cooper.
Yep,
I didn't realize.
Yeah, it was on there originally.
Yep.
Remember because they had Perfect Strangers on at some point.
I don't remember that show either.
Yeah,
I remember that one too.
I thought it was like Family Matters. Michelle,
once in a while.
The show in San Francisco with the twin houses. What's that called?
Full House.
Full House.
Yeah.
Boy Meets World. Step by Step.
I think at some point they also had Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
Sabrina.
Yeah,
they had that one on there too.
Step by Step. Suzanne Summers aged me a couple years. I can tell you that.
I know Adam would go Fresh Prince. I kind of lead Fresh Prince as well. I think we're 3 of us are going to go with this, but I had Everybody Loves Raymond or Seinfeld.
Oh, that's Raymond. Easy.
Oh, Seinfeld.
Easy. It's not even close.
Seinfeld.
Tyler's like the one guy in our friend group that's not Seinfeld-esque on our one thing. There's just too many good stuff in that show.
Everybody Loves Raymond is hilarious. Watch the Maria sculpture episode. You'll go,
oh, that's a hilarious.
This is hilarious. Like, Raymond's the most underrated. Like, people don't give it the credit it deserves because of Seinfeld. And Seinfeld might be
made a lot of top 10 lists when I looked it up.
Yeah. But it's so funny. I like your dynamic when you get married, like the dynamic between your mother and father-in-law, it just hits a different
I gotta always go Seinfeld. It's just
I know you guys do.
It's just we started out the show with the dog.
I love the meat slicer when they're feeding it to the cat under the door.
What was what I saw the other day that they have the red hot chicken, the light shining in the room. He comes into the room and he's like, I can't sleep, man. And he's pouring cereal and he's pouring tomato juice into the cereal and he's like, I can't see, man. I'm losing my mind. I had that one, and then I had Friends or King of Queens. I don't know. Those are two shows I used to watch. That was I don't know if you guys watch those ones, but
I go Friends. Kevin James is funny, but Friends is just better.
Yeah, I go Friends.
If you ask my wife, she goes Friends. I'm going King of Queens. Nobody on Friends is as funny as Kevin James is on King of Queens. Well, Friends is epic and great. I don't know. King of Queens, I would take.
Maybe not one-on-one funny, but communal, Friends.
No, Friends is a good everybody's gonna enjoy it who's sitting around watching the TV.
I mean, there's some pretty funny stuff in Friends. Some of the situations they get into.
My favorite.
Going up the stairs, trying to get a couch up the stairs.
Yeah.
Rotate.
The one where
no, he's saying pivot.
Yeah, pivot.
I definitely gotta go Friends.
And then the holiday armadillo is pretty funny. I guess Friends is way more epic in that aspect.
I just like the one where Ross wears the leather pants and they shrink on him and he can't get his pants back.
He's got the white teeth. Remember that glow in the dark?
And everything.
I like when Ross is the holiday armadillo.
That was funny.
I'm the holiday armadillo.
I think if I had to pick Friends, my favorite episode for some reason is the one where they do a game to switch apartments. And they put that and just because
Ross is Chandler's job?
Yeah. I don't know, but I love when they're like, what was Monica's name as goalie? Big fat goalie. That's always there. That was my favorite big fat goalie. That was great. They're like,
Could I do a couple CW series?
Brian, I probably won't know any of them other than Smallville, but go ahead. What do you got?
One of them is Smallville, but the other one's One Tree Hill.
All right. Well, I've watched both because I'm gonna go. I never go One Tree Hill, so I'm gonna go Smallville on that one. With that reason right there. I go. Casey, have you seen either?
I've never seen Smallville, so I'd have to go One Tree Hill.
It's the super
The only reason I know is Sophia Bush was in it. No,
she was in Smallville.
No, in One Tree Hill.
Yeah. Brian, it's oddly familiar that you're a big fan of Smallville. I'm gonna go with.
It's on Superman, right?
No, I have no idea what Smallville.
So basically, he's Superman as a teen, how he came here as a teenager, how he grows up through high school and stuff. So it's actually a pretty cool concept. The show, that show I do actually they stretch out the seasons too long in that show. I always felt like, Brian. I felt like they should have ended it after season 4.
I remember when I was roommates with Ryan, and he always had the box sets for One Tree Hill, so that was the best part of me.
Yeah, that's so funny. You and Ryan both love One Tree. It's just funny that was
funny story. I met Chad Michael Murray and the girl who he married from Disturbia, the girl that is Shia LaBeouf's love
at Disney World.
In it. At Disneyland a couple years ago. I was like, hey, I know you were the show, right? And he's like, yeah. And I just was like, all right. Have a good day.
Hey, let's have a. You take your shirt off. I'll take mine. It wasn't better, but
the better beer belly. I'll win that one.
That was great. Brian, what's your other one?
I said Smallville and One Tree Hill.
I thought you had another one, but all right, that's what I had. Then with it, I feel like I wanted to put Boy Meets World in there, but I can't find a good opponent yet for them. I feel like we'll all go Boy Meets World, so I need to find a good opponent for them to go against. You guys, I said, Family Matters, but I feel like we would all go towards Boy Meets World on that one. So I don't know. I was trying. I
had Family Matters and Full House.
I would probably lean. Gosh, that's a good one right there. I probably would lean I probably would lean Full House just a little bit, but just a little bit. But
how rude!
Family Matters was probably one of my favorite shows ever.
It's so funny because like that's Savage hates that show. Like who we follow, that's funny to me. But he hates that.
I don't know why. I just like.
Carl Winslow actually made an appearance last night in SNL with Dave Chappelle. He brought up his name as one of his jokes. I'll just put you guys can go look it out. It involves P. Diddy, Carl Winslow, and Dave Chappelle. That's what the joke involves. So if you want to check, he basically. So if you want to get a good laugh, you can say that.
His real name's Reginald, right? It's not Carl Winslow.
I know it's not, but that's what he calls it when he's doing the thing yesterday. He basically saying like he's like I realized why I wasn't invited to any of these freak offs. I realized that's the first time I realized I was ugly. But then I realized Carl Winslow wasn't voted. I was like, and I got pissed. He's like, I'm better looking than that guy. So it's just kind of that he goes there with it. All right, so those are our TV picks of the week. What do you guys got for winners and losers of the week? Brian, where do you want to start us off on this one?
I'm gonna go winner. I'm gonna say. I know I always go political, but I say the winner is going to be America because America is going to get
God bless America.
Trump's inauguration is tomorrow, so
he's doing it inside. Too cold, they said. Too cold for you. Not enough people could fit outside.
Brian, you doing a party or are you going anywhere to enjoy this Trump inauguration?
He's probably working.
I actually have to work, so I can't.
You should call Bob and pay him to.
You don't get Martin Luther King. You don't get Martin Luther King Day off.
No,
I gotta work.
I don't care about the African Americans.
You guys, your jobs are ridiculous.
I'm not working. I have to work outside.
You guys are ridiculous. Tell your bosses to get with it.
We're not woke. We don't have the woke mentality.
Do you get Juneteenth off?
No. We have Juneteenth off. We don't even get freaking Martin Luther King Day off.
Unbelievable.
Do you get Juneteenth off?
No, we don't. But we do get. I do get Martin Luther King Day off. So I got Monday off. Thank God. I'm like still recovering there. You're right. That is tomorrow as well. Was he number 47? Right, number 47.
Yeah,
what are the over under on him surviving the day?
It's inside, so I'm assuming he goes. Then he's going to go over to where the Wizards play for that. That's where the music is going to be and all that stuff with it.
It's so funny how things have changed. Snoop Dogg going from if you perform with Donald Trump, you're a loser. And now he's performing. It's just the hypocrisy of the whole thing makes me sad.
Money, baby. Yep. Money.
Money talks, right? What do you got, Case, for winner of the week?
Bullshit walks.
Money. I got both your kids. They both made buzzer beaters. Derek was pretty impressive. He made a half-court buzzer beater at the halftime. He was super elated. And then Chavi couldn't let his older brother outdo him, so he made a buzzer beater at the very end of the game. They were up by about 5, but he made it, and you could see the joy on the little man's face. And then I got to go with Mark, Hannah's dad. I haven't laughed that hard in a long time.
Darren looks embarrassed already.
I wasn't there. I don't know what he was talking about.
And so I guess they give certain players special treatment for free throws so they can get closer than the free throw actually is. And this girl shoots it. And she's probably halfway between the hoop. And the referee is kind of a weird dude. I'm not going to lie. And he has her come even closer.
Not Jacob Snyder's dad.
No. And he has her come even closer. And Mark, he goes, under his breath, he says it a little louder. He goes, why don't they just give her a layup? And the ref gives him the dagger look, and I just laughed. And he looked at me, and I was like, "That was the best comment I've heard."
Brad's a baseball guy. He actually has 2 World Series rings as a scout with the Twins. So he does have he always wears it once in a while. So yeah, Brad is kind of an interesting guy with those things. I've invited him on once in a while. The 7th inning, we haven't made it work once in a while.
Is Brad the guy who played at the airport club?
No, he's an older guy, but. He refs some of our league games, but he worked for the Reds last year, but he's taken this year off. he's like a hitting director for them, video director kind of thing. So, but he used to work for the Twins back in the day. So, Tyler, what do you got for winner of the week?
My winner I mentioned a little bit earlier, Steve Spagnuolo. I mean, the guy just knows how to get to the quarterback. His defenses are great. Like, you can't name more than 4 players on the Chiefs defense if you're not an NFL fan. You know Chris Jones, maybe you know McDuffie, and Justin Reed and Bolton. Outside of that, like, this defense is special, and Spagnuolo puts it all together. He deserves a head coaching job, and I don't know if he'll ever get it. Well, he deserves it.
He might get one more late. Like, there's sometimes coaches that get that a little bit late, like that, but we'll see.
But nobody's talking about him. Like, no one's going, this guy's.
Yeah, maybe he doesn't want to. I don't know. He doesn't want. Maybe he's made it clear.
He's like Dick LeBeau.
He's like, I just want to. There is a little less pressure, obviously, if you're the head coach, a little less to do. So you might live a little longer. There's that too. Yeah, you left out that good. You got another one, T?
Yeah, I got Marab beating Umar Nurma, whatever Khabib's little cousin is.
Say my name.
No. Russians will always come in last place for me. Russians are the worst. Mirad handles him, beats a Nurmagomedov. Like, nobody's done that in the UFC. They don't lose. And it was just kind of weird seeing one of them on the losing side. So my winner is Marab. After handling Sean Strickland get the championship, he just knows how to be boring enough to win.
My winner of the week is, in case you already met, I go Coach Hans for stepping up for me on that part. Bob Uecker, we didn't shout him out at all, passed away this week. I mean, just some of the greatest lines in Major League history there with some of that stuff. Some of the Norm Macdonald stories about him, too, on David Letterman are always funny ones I find on YouTube as well. Just a bit outside. What a hot shot to second. It's just some of the best stuff there with it on that line. So Bob Uecker, 90 years old. What a career. The Brewers, I remember listening to that game on the radio in the garage this postseason, hoping that they were going to be able to win, to hear his call. But the call is Pistol Pete Alonso knocking the Brewers out of the playoffs. So that was Bob Uecker's last call this year. Crazy. He was announcing just a couple of months ago at the age of 92. So Bob Uecker, rest in peace there with it. And then this ACC documentary, it's like an 8-part series. They go from like 1940 and they go every 10 years. It's so good. It's as good as it gets.
Is that Ken Burns?
No, it's on ESPN. It's one of those things, but it's so good. You'll see it on TV every once in a while. I recommend that. So if anybody's ever seen that, Brian, what do you got for a loser? We'll get out of here.
I got the Detroit Lions 15-2 and bounced in the divisional.
Good call. I got the Lions as well as one of mine. Case, what do you got?
Got the NFL refs in the Chiefs game.
I also had that. Tyler, you make it 3 for 3. I had like 6. So let's see if you can hit one of them.
No, I have both of those, and then that was my only 2 really. And the coaching in the Lions game, as far as Campbell is concerned. I don't know how good this Lions team will be without the 2 coordinators if they both leave.
No elephant on the A's patch anymore. They put a bridge, even though they're not part of Sacramento. Apparently, the A's, they decided to do that. I don't know. They're just a confusing franchise with what they're trying to do. Why is there in a weird spot with all that stuff? So they put the Sacramento bridge on there, even though they're not part of Sacramento, but they won't put Sacramento in. That makes no sense. The poor elephant dies after 100 years. We'll see if they bring him back at some point, too. How do you kill the elephant on the A's logo? Come on. You can't kill the A's elephant. You got that with it. TikTok freaks. You're out. Sorry. You don't get that anymore, possibly. TikTok might be dead, Brian. And then I'm going to give Tyler and Brian a little bad time here. Tyler and Brian always misunderstanding each other. It's loser of the week. So I'm going to go with that as my funny one with that. With it. And then being sick. I hate it. Good God, it's the worst. But yeah, this is the worst that I've been since a long time. So that was not very fun this week dealing with that, but was able to make it this morning. We got, an hour and a half in? It's kind of crazy. We've already kind of gone this long into it, but it was a good show. We had a lot to talk about. I didn't think we would go this long, but whenever I get a chance to talk to you guys, it's always fun, guys. I enjoyed it. As always, Brian, next week we got championship weekend on the line. We got some good football ahead of us. Hopefully we'll get some good games today as well, guys. That will be the key. So Tyler, I think a winner of the week should be that hat. Maybe I see we didn't shout out that hat. Fatboy FadeAway Sports there with the golf edition. That's the golf edition hat right there, right? Or the sailor edition. It kind of reminds me of those hats.
It's an edition. I'm getting a Fatboy FadeAway California, the original design on the side in a couple weeks.
Have you ever seen that Bussin' the Boys podcast or whatever, or heard of it or something like that?
Taylor Lewan and Will Compton.
Yeah, that hat kind of looks like their style of it, so I kind of like that one on there with it. And just to fire up Johnson for next week, let's get this one.
Candlestick Park in San Francisco, and the sun has been out all day.
All day, boys. We're 1 week away from the championship game. So there for Brian Johnson.
Hold on, one quick unpopular opinion. Pat Summerall was a better announcer than John Madden. Okay.
You are an idiot. Pat did have quite the delivery. I will say that with it. But he almost got fired for drinking on the air. That's always one of the.
Good for him. It makes you more interested. Keep it up, Pat.
The only problem is I heard the viewers could not hear him. That was they could not make sense out of what he was saying anymore. So for Brian, for Casey, for Tom.